Hey, what's up, guys? It's Sweebs. I've got a pretty crazy story time to tell today. This happened about 3 years ago, and the day started out pretty normal. It's a Saturday, got some mowing done, helped clean up around the house, all the usual stuff I gotta get done on a Saturday. But then I noticed that our neighbor is clearing out pretty much absolutely everything in his garage, and one of which is a unicycle. So he offers to me if I want to take the unicycle and attempt to try and ride it. And because he knows my balance is all right. But so anyway, I take this unicycle home and I'm trying to ride it. It's pretty much about as hard as I would expect it to be. Still can't ride it to this day. But I figure it'd be a lot easier to try and learn it with some of your friends around. So I called up one of my friends. I'm not going to give out his real name. Let's just call him Jake. So I call my friend Jake. He comes over. We're trying to figure out how to ride this unicycle, just pretty much laughing at each other, just absolutely failing at being able to even ride it upwards of 2 feet. So anyway, we're kind of messing around, screwing around within the yard, and eventually we decide, we grow enough confidence that we're like, you know what, we're going to try it on the pavement. So we head out to the street and the sidewalk, and we're kind of just goofing off, trying it out. And down the street comes this mom and her son, and the son looks like is probably around 16, maybe 17. And this kid was wearing pretty much everything was Vans. I mean, I didn't even think they made Vans pants and socks, but you know what? This kid had it. He had the hat, he had the shirt, he had the pants, he had the shoes. And so there's this 16-year-old totally decked out in all Vans gear, riding a BMX bike down the street with his mom. So we don't really acknowledge it too much, but I whispered to my friend, I'm like, man, this is kind of weird, one, to be wearing everything the exact same thing. And you're that old riding a BMX bike with your mom? I mean, really, with your mom down the street. So I had never seen this guy before in my life. And, most of the time the people that come down my street, they kind of live in the area or them to an extent. But those people, we didn't know at all. So anyway, the mom's wearing sunglasses, so I couldn't tell if she was looking at me or not. And there's absolutely no way she could have heard what we said because, one, we're about 20 feet away from them, and I just looked and whispered it at my friend. So anyway, this lady is just about to pass us, and she slams on the brakes, and she stops, and she's like, do you even know Max? Apparently, Max is her son's name. I didn't know that. So obviously, we responded, we're like, no. And she's like, well, I'll have you know, he's a very nice, respectful boy, and I will not tolerate people making fun of him or picking on him. And then she leans down to her kid on the BMX bike and says, Max, do you know these kids from school? And obviously he nods his head no, because I've never seen this man in my life. So anyway, that kind of, it escalated incredibly quickly. I mean, we go from goofing around with a unicycle to, Karen, soccer mom, slamming the brakes on, inquiring if we go to school with her son. So we tell her, you know what, we don't want a problem with you. I don't know your son. I don't know what you think we're doing over here. So she rides off. And when they're about maybe 30, 40 feet away, I kind of throw my hand up in there like, oh man, forget you. I will clarify, I did not flip this lady the finger or do anything, inappropriate to her. But so I kind of wave my hand up in the air like, oh man, are you kidding me? This lady just made this interaction with us. And I don't know what crossed her mind to do this. But at the time that I do that, she stops again and turns around and looks at me right when I have my hand up in the air. And I can only imagine she assumes I'm about to flip her off. So she just doesn't yell it out, but in a very stern, loud tone, she says, "What are you going to do with that?" And me and my friend just look at each other and, thinking quickly, I thought it would be funny if instead of acknowledging the fact that she was thinking that I was going to flip her off, I decided to go with, "Oh, you're thinking that I'm riding the unicycle." So as soon as she says, "What are you going to do with that?" I just say, well, I think I'm going to try and ride it. And she looks ticked. Her face, I mean, she was already mad before, but now she looks real mad. And she says, "You know what? I know people that are going to get you in trouble. And I know people at the school that are going to resolve this issue. And I'm going to make sure you learn your lesson." And then she just rides off. And, I don't go to this kid's school. I know for a fact I don't go to this kid's school. I've never seen him in my life. And anyway, what are you going to do? What people, what? You're going to harm, this was 3 years ago, so I was 15. You're going to get people to come out and harm a 15-year-old? Really? And my friend Jake at the time, he was younger than I was. So, you're talking about potentially going to, I don't know, confront some minors. I don't know what your friends are going to do to us if they show up. So, anyway, after that not long confrontation, I mean, it all happened within maybe a minute, maybe 2 minutes. But anyway, so about 30 minutes later, guess who shows up? The cops. This lady called the cops on us for what initially started as me acknowledging the fact that this kid was as old as he was, riding with his mom on a BMX bike in absolute only Vans drip. So this lady calls the cops, and she clearly didn't tell the cops the full story or any of the story of what happened, because the cops pull up and we're holding a unicycle, and the cop pulls up and he says, "Hey, what are you kids doing?" And we're like, we're riding the we're trying to ride this unicycle, right? So he says, apparently not, because I got a call about 2 kids jumping their bikes in front of cars. How does this story get slurred that much? We go from riding a unicycle to confronting this lady to, now we're magically on bikes jumping in front of oncoming traffic. So, yeah, this crazy Karen lady called the cops, lied, in order to try and get us in trouble. So we explained to the cop, we're like, "Hey, I don't know who called you. Clearly they're not talking about us, because 1, we're not on bikes. 2, I mean, what cars are we going to jump in front of? I'm on a small suburban town road. There's not consistent traffic coming through here. So there's no cars to jump in front of, and we're not on bikes. And 2, we're not even in the street." So yeah, the cop, I mean, he really couldn't do anything at that point. So he just said, "Hey, you guys," I don't think he believed our story, but he said, "Yeah, you guys need to stop. Don't do it again." And then he just drove off. And me and Jake gave each other the most confused looks we had ever given each other before, because, you don't expect to wake up, get a unicycle, get the cops called on you by a crazy Karen lady. So, anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this story, and subscribe if you're new. Don't forget to hopefully turn on notifications. I have low subscribers right now, so I like to get that number up. So if you could hit the subscribe button, that would be great. And since it does better in the algorithm, if people comment, let's just have everybody comment Karen in the comment section. And yeah, I'll see you guys all next time. I'm out.